what happens if so-and-so dies? And if there is going to be a massive financial loss, or if there is going to be any type of mourning period that you are going to have to say, hey, I need to shut this business down, then you need to look at that. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. It's just me flying solo this week. No Teresa. She will be back. But for now, you got me. I know. Wah, wah, wah. Okay. Let's talk about why it is so important to have a buy, sell, or key man policy. I know a lot of people that are listening to this are either real estate or they are some kind of business owner, typically blue collar, because that's just who I attract. And so, do you have a partner in your business? Do you have a key man in your business? And it is always a little bit surprising to me that people will start businesses and they get super excited about a business, but they don't go as far as to think, what happens if my business partner dies? What happens if the key man in my business passes away? And so the key man is almost like a business partner because they are a key man. If they pass away, there's going to be a loss of income. I might be an investor in a business and the business owner or I have somebody managing that business because I'm the owner. And so I have somebody managing that business and that person really truly understands what's happening. Or I have a high level executive that really is running the place and I just report to board meetings or something like that. And so do I have insurance on them? And so many people just do not think about this. If you are starting a business, here is my advice. If you are starting some kind of partnership or some sort of LLC, and I don't care if you're mowing lawns with somebody or if you're building homes with somebody or you have some big, huge, successful business, if it is family operated, if it is true partnership where it's just you and somebody else, I want you to think about this. What happens if your partner or the other owner of that business dies today? Do you know what happens? Is there something in your agreement that says, if Joe dies, I'm now in business with his wife? I'm now in business with his heirs. Is that what you want? If that's not what you want, then you need to make sure that you have a way to protect that. You can buy out those heirs, or maybe you have in your agreement that if Joe dies, all of his shares just automatically go to you and there is no buyout. That might be something you look at too. I don't know what the operation looks like. Maybe your partner's not married and no children. So it just goes to you. It doesn't go to any sisters, brothers, parents, anybody of next of kin. So if you're setting something up, ask that question before you even get started. If Joe dies, do I even want to do anything with his wife? Do I want to have any kind of communication with her outside of, I'm sorry, Joe died? Because let's be honest, a lot of you are really good with the business partners you have, but you would not tolerate their spouses. I don't know that I could tolerate a lot of people's spouses. Not every spouse understands what it took to get into the business. A lot of times the spouses aren't paying attention, or they might think something's not fair, but their spouse is like, yeah, that's totally fair. I'm okay with that because John does X, Y, and Z, and Joe's okay with that, and John's okay with it. But we're not married to their spouses, okay, for a reason. It's an odd situation, truly an odd situation if everybody's getting along at an uppity up level. So how is that buyout going to go? How much am I going to have to buy them out for? Is it written down in some sort of an agreement? Is there an exit strategy? Or is there a time frame that the spouse has to be bought out or that the heirs have to be bought out by? So all of those things need to be considered. Same thing for a key man. If I own a business and my key person passes away, let's just use my John as an example. So John takes meetings with people. He met with as many people last year that I could not meet with that I met with last year. John is busy doing meetings. And so what happens if John passes away? Now, I'm not booked out 3 months, I'm booked out 6 months. I may actually lose clientele, right? There is going to be a financial loss to my business. I don't have somebody to train new agents. John is amazing at helping train new agents. He takes a lot of stuff off my plate. I don't ask. John just does it, right? And so what does that look like? Can I buy a policy on John? Yes, absolutely I could. I don't have one on him, but I sure should have one on him so that if something happens to him, I get reimbursed for that. Should John have a policy on me? Yes, he is not technically an employee. But because we're colleagues because John owns his own business, he just takes extra meetings. And so if I die, now is that going to affect John's business? Absolutely it will. Because I'm not here doing the marketing. I'm not the face of things. He's going to have to figure out how to manage everything over here. So yes, he has insurable interest in me, 100%. And so you need to look at that when you have key employees. The question becomes, if my key person passes away, how badly will that affect my business? If it's really bad, then you should have insurance on them. If it's, it maybe take a couple of weeks to replace that person, then no, you can't have insurance on them. So we look at people like Walmart. They got in trouble back in the day because they had a bunch of policies on their greeters. Well, they can have policies on key executives, but greeters are not, like, you can be taught to do that job pretty quickly. And so those are not key employees. And families were upset because, the greeter is passing away and Walmart's making money off of this and we are not. How the insurance company missed that is beyond me because they check all this stuff. But it is definitely something to look at. If you are a somewhat passive owner and you have somebody running that business, you have the ability to have insurance on them. And so again, if you're starting a business, ask these questions. What happens if so-and-so dies? And if there is going to be a massive financial loss, or if there is going to be any type of mourning period that you are going to have to say, hey, I need to shut this business down, then you need to look at that. I know one example that comes to the top of my head right now is the fact that I had the builder that remodeled our home. His best friend worked for them. And he had worked for them for, I want to say, like 30 years or something. And they were best friends. And I remember the guy that works for him had cancer. And the builder said, oh my God, my best friend has cancer. I'm stressed, right? He really was stressed out about that because what happens, like I could lose my best friend. He wasn't concerned about the business. He was concerned about losing his best friend. Well, let's reverse until, I think it was Easter. The builder passed away unexpectedly. Passed away of a heart attack, I believe. Now, all I can think about is the friend. If they are best friends, which I know they are, that is equally as hard for his main guy as it is the wife. So now what's happening is the main guy and the wife are in business together when in fact the builder is the one that used to have the relationship with the key employee. And so now we're having to navigate what does this look like? Can I quit my job? After 30 years, I was just here because my best friend owned the business, but now I don't want to do business with the wife. I don't know what that looks like. I've not talked to anybody, but if I were just to put my feet in those shoes, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I want to navigate this. Not only am I in business with the wife, but now I'm listening to the son. And the son wasn't super active at the time because he couldn't get his poop in a scoop. And so now what are we doing? Do I want to stay? That key man could have actually had life insurance on his boss, possibly as well, if there was going to be a financial loss there. I don't know that that situation would have qualified, but definitely something that needs to be considered. We have to look at those things. We get so excited to just get into business and we get busy because we're busy marketing or we're just busy in general. If you are a blue collar business owner and you are in any kind of mechanical industry, any kind of contracting, welding, electrician, if you're not busy, I'd be asking why. Your marketing either sucks or your personality sucks or your work sucks. Like something is happening. I don't mean to be that blunt, but I'm going to be that blunt because there is so much work. And if you're not getting the work, something's happening because all of my friends in those businesses, they can barely keep their head above water. And they're hardly marketing. They actually quite suck at marketing. But it's crazy because you get a lot of referrals in blue collar because there's a lot of people that just don't want to do the job. So what happens is we start this business, we get super busy marketing, then we get super busy in the business, and then we don't run the business. We're working in the business, but not on the business. And so we don't ever pay attention to all the things that we should have had lined up when the business started. We never get back to those documents. We never take time off because we are so busy making money and trying to keep our heads above water with our big lists of things that we never get around to it. Take my advice now. If you're starting, just stop. If you have started, just take one day off, get all these things settled and talked about, and then start again. And I myself have had to do that. I'll start something and I'm just going full bore. And guess what? I probably should have built the foundation first. I'm already putting windows in and I don't have a foundation. So we need to build the foundation, be methodical about that because when the house goes up, it's going to go up fast depending on the industry. My industry is super slow because y'all think life insurance out there is a joke and it's not a joke. It's not a joke. You need it. But not every industry is like that. And a lot of the blue collar stuff will take off quickly. I've seen it over and over and over again with people that market pretty halfway, right? They're not out there like killing it by any stretch of the imagination. So I think we've talked about before, when you start a business, your first hire should be your admin, which 100% is true. But you also need to make sure that you are taking care of the what ifs so that if and when somebody passes away, you're ready. Now, on the opposite side of that, I have talked to people that are like, oh, we have life insurance for our buyout. It's term insurance. Guess what? They're still partners at 65 years old, and one of them is uninsurable and the term is expiring. So now what do? This is why you want whole life right away and not just term insurance. Because if you guys do end up having a partnership that goes a long time, or even if it doesn't go a long time and there was a buyout and something went bad on one side of the buyout, at least you've got some life insurance to recover that. So it seems like any partnership that goes south or that breaks up, somebody gets kind of screwed in the deal. And if that's happening, then you're going to want some life insurance to be able to recover that should that old partner pass away. There's a lot of reasons for it. And there's a lot of just people just aren't doing it. And your SBA and your banks and all those kind of people that are helping you get started are not requiring it, which is insane to me because they should be requiring it. If you have any type of business plan, it should be in the plan. All of this should be talked about, but it's never talked about. So here I am talking about it. Okay, you guys, hopefully that helped. Hopefully that made some sense so that you can go out and get some life insurance. Ideally, come to me so it's structured correctly. That we know what's going on with your business. We know if somebody's insurable, you have insurable interest in somebody. How that makes sense. Not a lot of agents even think of this. They don't. It's crazy to me how many people I see that are partners and they have life insurance on themselves, but rarely do we have anything on partners. Where is the agent? Email me, maryjo@withoutthebank.com. If you have to wait a few months to get in and see me, I truly appreciate you waiting. I truly, truly do. I know it's a long time. Is it worth it? Yes, it's 100% worth it. So we can get to everything we need to get to. If you need to schedule with John, but then don't schedule with me. You either wait for me or you work with John. Okay? Okay. Go to withoutthebank.com, grab your books, read them, schedule, and let's get started. Otherwise, you have a fantastic rest of your day.